Hello everyone, welcome back to Barrow Vision, and Happy New Year! 2024 is finally here. Hopefully it will be as good of a year for Deep Rock as we are expecting, certainly the first 6 months I'd imagine. And then of course we move into Roll Call where things get more exciting, but maybe less for Deep Rock specifically. Either way, we're back, Barrow Vision's back, Deep Rock will be back on the horse soon, or Ghost should be back on the horse soon, whatever that means. Getting to work on Roll Call and then going into the maintenance update and all these sorts of exciting things. But either way, today we're going to be a little bit more modest before the next podcast, in which we will sort of make a list of demands basically for what Ghost Ship has to do this year. But before, until then, I want to we're back in the new year, which means there is going to be a Tuesday that passes by when we're supposed to be back. Which means a Tuesday video, which in this case is going to be a build showcase, a gunner build showcase, no less. And I'm really excited about this one. It's one I've had in the... This is actually really interesting, thing to try and explain. Have I had this in the can for a long time or have I not? The idea of burning hell and volatile bullets has been in the can for well over 3 years, maybe from 4 years, ever since that build was sort of discovered. It's quite an obvious one, although I wouldn't say I discovered it before the community did, but it's the kind of thing where I sort of discovered it on my own, and then I sort of came to realize that people just sort of agreed that it's like a really amazing combination. It sort of surged up, using burning helmet on the minigun and using volatile bullets on the bulldog. But we're not doing that today. We're actually doing something else. We're using the coil gun instead. Now, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think the biggest one is probably just that everyone knows how good of a build this is. I'll get to it when I either do a video that's specifically about burning hell or specifically about volatile bullets, which I think is a bit more likely, because then I can combine it with the hurricane as well. But especially after, for a while, I've been trying to have something that sort of works with the coil gun and the burning hell minigun because of the necro-thermal catalyst upgrade in tier 5. And I think it's after the most recent update, the November maintenance update, it's become a much more viable thing to do this, because a lot of things changed about the coil gun that lend itself directly to this. Now, I believe that most people tend to use Reatomizer to combine with Burning Hell. I personally don't want to touch Reatomizer with a 10-foot pole still. I really think it needs to be reworked. I think the idea is really interesting, but to me, I think it's such a simple solution, is make it a random element overclock and just balance it around that. That's what I want to see. Have it be able to inflict fire, ice, electricity, corrosion, pheromones, poison, like from the bolt sharks, poison darts, all of these things. That's what I'd rather see on Reatomizer, just a randomizer basically. Possibly even have it like, actually no, I'm not going to say that. But yeah, I wanted to come up with something that really worked well with these two. Now, there's an interesting conundrum, which is like what you miss out on when you're not taking volatile bullets, and that is direct damage. And yeah, it's true, you do miss out on a lot of direct damage, but we get something else when we take necro-thermal catalyst. And I kind of just need to go through kind of everything about this. I think I want to start with the minigun specifically and just sort of how it's sort of built to be the best it can be. So burning hell is like one of the best overclocks in the game, really. It sometimes feels very dangerous. You really do have to play run and gun and actually get up close to use it, which is slightly dangerous for gunner. He's the slowest of all the classes just naturally. When you're firing, you are slower, but that's the great thing about burning hell, is that we don't need to fire for a long amount of time to really get what we need out of it. And I think that's why I take improved motor in tier 1. Now, this could change based on the circumstances, because there's a reason I take hot bullets in tier 5, and that's so I can set enemies on fire at a long distance, but which would encourage taking accuracy. But I've found, or at least I sort of hypothesized, I should say, taking fire rate, it increases how fast we produce heat, I believe. And the problem I have with that is, and I'm very willing to concede that this might be very flawed, is if it doesn't actually do that, then it means we are just wasting ammo without actually inflicting more heat. But I believe it does make you inflict more heat, and that's why we take it. Tier 2 I hope would be obvious. The minigun here is a AoE powerhouse designed to inflict fire and nothing else. We do shoot enemies directly with it. You should not be avoiding that. Actually, the interesting thing about using the coil gun specifically is that there is a little bit of avoiding shooting enemies, specifically the weaker ones. Like, we don't really want to shoot grunts and slashers directly because the coil gun can take care of them and produce the explosion from necro-thermal catalyst. Which is why I hope it's obvious for the minigun that in tier 2 we take ammo, because that gives us, you know, what do more powerful bullets mean? They mean very little when what more ammo means is more fire. The bullets do not, the damage of the bullets does not affect how much fire we can produce. So we take more ammo because that means more fire. It means more burning hell. Tier 3, I recently just changed the stun. I think it's the most sensible one for this build specifically. It used to be hardened rounds, which is what you should be using if you're using the Bulldog with volatile bullets, because that makes a lot of things so much easier, like mainly like Praetorians and Brundles, even guards, although I wouldn't inherently recommend using it on guards. Shellbacks for sure. Lots of things like that. Enemies with like armor that the Bulldog can't normally penetrate, but the coil gun ignores armor, so that's not a concern for us. Conversely, the coil gun also ignores weak points. It doesn't gain weak point bonuses, so that's also something to keep in mind. So I took stun just as a form of crowd control. Yeah, blow through rounds is kind of good, but the thing is, the Lead Storm, the minigun is not purely AoE anymore, because they're sort of both hybrids in this case. Although in this specific build, I would say the minigun is a AoE and crowd control, while the coil gun is single target and AoE, which is weird. We've got a lot of AoE, and it does come across as pretty strange sometimes, and I'm immediately going to actually change my grenade to a tactical lead burster, because weirdly enough, single target is actually our weakest link here, and that is because of the coil gun, which is why this is a sort of a build of submission in a way, where it's like I'm just trying to get the coil gun to work with burning hell, and this is the result. It still works very well, and I hope I will prove that. In fact, I would be willing to say that if you want to make this universal, if you want a burning hell build that you can take into any mission type, I would say this is more likely to serve you well than volatile bullets. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that burning hell inflicts heat and fire damage. Fire damage doesn't have anything to do with temperature. I believe it enhances temperature, like if an enemy's already on fire, then fire damage comes into play, but that's not really the point. The point is, burning hell makes it so that a cone of fire damage and heat is produced when you're firing the minigun. It's 40 of both per second. 40 heat and 40 fire damage, I believe, are the numbers. And that fire damage is simply inflicted as area damage, which means we can damage. It gives us more damage no matter what. It gives us more damage to anything we're firing at. What it allows us to do is actually damage Dreadnoughts from any angle. So I am going to be playing elimination with this build. It's going to be weird. There's not going to be as much fire action, but it's going to show off how burning hell can be used in more scenarios than you might think, and also just as proof of concept of this coil gun. But very quickly, tier 4 on the minigun, lighter barrel assembly is my favorite. I'm always going to take it. There's some very rare examples where I don't. I would say variable chamber pressure comes up sometimes, especially if I'm using where is it, a little more oomph. That definitely earns variable chamber pressure. That worked very well. Also, this guy looks disgusting. Ignore that. So yeah, and then tier 5 is hot bullets. Why? Because that's more single target damage, which is actually good here, something we need a little bit, and it allows us to set enemies on fire at a longer range. And also, when the hot bullets are active, it means we can set things on fire quicker anyway, which is a good thing, just in general. So hot bullets is an easy pick. It's my most commonly used one, but it's even better on burning hell specifically. Then we get to the coil gun, and like I said, there were multiple changes made in the maintenance update that lend itself directly to a build that synergizes with burning hell, and it does come down to backfeeding module for the most part. I would say you could use probably triple tech chambers and a couple other things if you wanted to. Reatomizer, not hellfire. Mull, probably. Ultramagnetic coils, no. Backfeeding module to me, so what was changed about backfeeding module? Well, first of all, backfeeding module adds a lot of ammo in exchange for a shorter trail duration. It used to add a lot of ammo in exchange for reduced direct damage, and sort of the result of that, when you compared it to hellfire and ultramagnetic coils, it became completely useless, because it was trying to be, it couldn't be used for direct damage because it reduced direct damage, which is like, oh, so you're meant to use it for like AoE, are you? But then you realize how much better your other options are, especially hellfire. I know that ultramagnetic coil still hasn't sort of reached the pedigree that it is, how OP it actually is. No one's still realized that. I'm still very, it's very close to the chest for me how good that overclock actually is. Why is it so dark, man? Hold on. Ta-da! That's not great. Anyway, so it comes back to backfeeding module, because what they did is they removed the damage penalty and added a trail duration, which to me signified what this overclock is meant to be, which is direct damage. Yes, it doesn't add direct damage, but what it does do is give us way more shots, and it sort of penalizes the AoE aspect, which to me leans into the side of the coil gun as being a pistol, sort of a pocket charging revolver, basically, you know, in a way that can actually replace the bulldog under certain circumstances. So that's why we take damage in tier 1, because we have the excuse to. I mean, we could go up to 1240 ammo if we wanted to, but that would be pointless. We want as much damage as we can possibly get. So we go from 130 to 170 per shot, which we can increase by up to 100 more, up to 270 by taking Overcharger, which increases damage for every quarter of a second that you hold over base charge, which can be up to 2 seconds, which means we can get up to 100 damage, which is 270 damage per shot. We're going for single target, so Overcharger is obvious. Tier 3 is the weirder one. You know, where you get stun or fear. I'm always going to go for fear. Keeping enemies close together is actually good in this with this build, but personally, I go for fear because it's quite a risky close range run and gun play style, even still. Even using the coil gun instead of the bulldog. But the thing is, the fear on this weapon is 100%. It's guaranteed, whereas the stun is a chance-based thing. And I've always found fear more useful anyway. So it's a really easy pick for me. It doesn't lean into the build specifically, and neither does tier 4. So I just take defense enhancement because we spend a lot of time charging our shots, trying to get the highest damage possible. So defense enhancement to me makes perfect sense over Shockwave, because Shockwave is not going to get any real damage bonuses from that. So defense enhancement is going to help us keep a little bit more safe while we're preparing those mega shots. And yeah, tier 5 is obviously the name of the game here. Necro-thermal catalyst, it got reworked. Its original purpose hasn't been lost. In fact, it actually got nerfed in some weird ways. So basically, necro-thermal catalyst what it used to do is when you kill a burning enemy with the coil gun, it would produce a fiery explosion. Quite a powerful one, in fact, like a really powerful one. And that's what they nerfed mostly. I think they might have increased the radius, I'm not sure. They definitely reduced the damage, but either way, it's still quite an impressive explosion. It does a lot of damage. It will tear through grunt hordes when you use it. Which I would say is its main purpose for AoE. But what they also added in the maintenance update was a damage bonus against burning enemies, essentially making it a volatile bullets for the coil gun. We get plus 30% damage to burning enemies, which means that if we max out, if we go to the very peak of damage for what the coil gun can produce, we have our tier 1 damage, we have Overcharger pushed to the limits of plus 100 damage, we have necro-thermal catalyst coming into play against a burning enemy. It's about 350 damage, which is lower than what most volatile bullets builds would offer, but we also do have the penetration of it. We have the fact that it's better on average without, like, we don't lose damage if it's not a burning enemy, and we also get the explosions themselves. So I think there is a decent trade-off there. I think there are definitely good reasons to use this, and that's kind of what I hope to prove today. And nothing else is really relevant. Very standard perk setup. You know my actives. Passives are sort of just the kind of things that I like. Veteran Depositor, if you like. I don't know. Shield Generator. This is a very average, good setup for it. Although I would recommend taking a charge speed. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, everything else not important. Lead Burster maybe, because we spec a bit harder into AoE than we do single target damage, and the Lead Burster specs very well into single target. Especially something like a Detonator. Although, if you were using volatile bullets, obviously Detonators are one of the most satisfying and easy things to kill with the volatile bullets setup. But either way, I'm using the tactical Lead Burster, but the real recommendation of this build boils down to what's on the minigun and the coil gun. So as long as you copy those, you should be good. So we're starting with a basic mission. I've actually had this held over for a long time, I've just realised, but I'm going to do it. Basic point extraction in the Glacial Strato, so we're going to feel very strong. But after that, hopefully we'll get a elimination with some kind of mutator on it. But yeah, I've shown off the build. If you find it interesting, or just, like, you know, I reckon a lot of you have probably got some kind of Burning Hell build, possibly with volatile bullets, but maybe this has already inspired you to try something else. I hope it has. But either way, if you want some proof that it is good, then continue watching. Although keep in mind, I'm pretty rusty. I haven't been playing Deep Rock much recently. I've got lots of other stuff to play, like RoboQuest, for example. Me and Tyler are playing Terraria at the moment on legendary difficulty, and it's great. We just beat the Wall of Flesh last night. That was New Year's Eve. We beat the Wall of Flesh, which was awesome. And I'm sort of waiting for the next maintenance update to sort of be my sign to get back into Deep Rock. I think it's absolutely fair. Look at this guy. Little elf. Alright, what's going on here? Anything of note? Oh yeah, and of course I'll skip between sort of combat scenarios. Although it's the beginning of a point expansion, I'm expecting some combat early on.
And we're expecting heavy resistance, so the lift has been equipped with heavy armaments. But keep focused, it's about the good.
So as soon as I can, see this, in some ways, this group of enemies would be worth using the... I'm going to do it now, actually. Oh, I missed! See, that's great. That's exactly what we want. We want me to miss. Alright, although what we can use the Spitballer for is showing off the direct damage itself. But yeah, I want to try and show off the necro-thermal catalyst explosion as soon as I can. Such as against this Singtail. There it is. Obviously not many enemies around to really show it off against. Oh, actually we've got some enemies here. This grunt is our subject. Look at that. There we go. That wasn't too bad at all. I like that. Also, we can just sort of tear these things apart with minigun. Really not difficult. A menace, however. Now, a menace would be difficult because the menace is obviously going to try and hide. Not quick enough, though.
Got the menace. Help me with the minerals here.
But now, of course, I'm going to try and just get some of the mission done. So we'll see you back when I get assaulted by aliens.
Here I come.
Oh, I think it's happening right now. Let me get this Quark out, please. No. Oh. Alright, fine. Already, actually, that the stun on the minigun is coming into play. I've noticed. That means that the grunt's actually, the one that you set on fire, can be stunned just from being hit by the fire, it seems. You don't even need to hit them with the bullets. Which means we're setting them on fire and stunning them without doing any extra damage. And they're sort of being held back. They sort of get a bit deeper into the group of enemies, you know. Which is exactly what we want. Anyway, like I said, I will see you when I next get attacked. Although, once again, I think that's right now. Obviously, something I've been trying to do is sort of be a bit more selective. I'm not going to show you literally every small group of grunts that comes my way, but right now it seems appropriate, because look at that. That's exactly what I want to show you.
Die, you double-jointed freaks! Die! Stay by my side, Bosco.
What the hell?
Let the face meteor shower imminent. Stay out of the impact
Right, whatever.
zones.
Alright, we've got an actual swarm, which is good. I definitely want a diversity of enemies to reiterate. Like that Trijaw, for example. And this guard, which is going to be our target. Look at that! Beautiful. And yeah, something to survive. Like anything that's actually stronger than the grunt will probably survive the explosion, but they'll probably die to the fire, or we can just very easily just, you know, kill them.
Shield charged and ready. No survivor.
They really did nerf Stingtails, didn't they?
Give me some light right here.
They spread out high. Oh, hold on. It's a beautiful horde. Look at that. Oh dear. But there's my rustiness coming into play. Not that it hasn't already. We can see from there the radius of the explosion is pretty high, actually. I believe that, like most sort of things like this, the actual fire doesn't have damage fall off, unlike the actual area damage of the explosion. Although I think it doesn't do area damage. I think it just does fire damage and heat. I could be wrong about that. I could also easily check that. So.
Go! Get to work!
Anyway, I would get to work. If anything, like a detonator or water or a compressor shows up, that probably be the next time you see me. Oh, I can't resist this one. These poor bastards. Oh, if I can actually get my shit together. Apparently I can't. That's fine. They tell me that a swarm is upon me. Look at that. Oh, whoa.
Spread is dead, baby!
Ow, what? Fuck this.
Shield up! Horn ready!
Right. And that was the coil gun doing its job, aside from shooting at an enemy that's on fire. Oh no.
Help me mind this!
Oh, there's two of them, is there?
Go! Get to work!
So yeah, so something that's sort of been the case so far is I haven't really been able to show direct damage as much. I've sort of just been using it to destroy hordes of enemies, which is actually good, because I know that the direct damage thing is good. But the thing that I'm always uncertain about is how like efficient it is at being used as a crowd clearing tool. And so far, it's been pretty spectacular.
I need support!
Oh, okay, I tagged it, so I might as well let the boss code go to work now. Alright, well, yeah, I think I will definitely, though, hold off. I'll cut to an actual significant enemy. I don't know, maybe a Dreadnought will show up or something, that'd be cool.
Damn it, there's a pebble in...
Now I must answer the age-old question of, do I do the Dystrom secondary objective? No. No, I'm not going to.
Players are recharging! Here! Have a bullet in the...
Which is sort of like an interesting aspect of the conundrum of how much I want to play the game. It's like, this is pretty functional at the moment. I'm kind of just playing to make the video. So I'm not really interested in secondary objectives if they don't help me sort of showcase anything. Which is why I'm genuinely so excited for that next maintenance update. Like, I've already done all the, I've got all the yellow jackets, so that's the first weapon maintenance paint job, but I'm probably not going to endeavour to make more progress deliberately until the next maintenance update. I feel like having 2 maintenance updates under the game's belt, and me having not played much since the first one came out, means it'll be that'll be a more comprehensive version of the game, a bit more refreshing, I think. And I want to use this Praetorian to show off the single target, the coil gun. The charge up some. Oh, it's immediately unburned. Okay, this is going terribly.
Here, get into cover!
No, not anymore. Right, you are my target. Okay, apparently not. Okay, so I didn't notice apparently how good these Praetorians are at actually cooling down. Yeah, cooling down. was immediate. I can't really actually charge up the shot, but what we can do is charge up a shot fully even as a suppressor. I feel like. I think it stays on fire for long enough. Oh, just about. Just about. That's actually dangerous. That's like... Yeah, that's interesting.
Grabbing ammo. Never felt better.
Your ride home is on the way. Drop pod inbound.
You can see I haven't really bothered with the meteors either. The small meteor. Because I hate small meteor.
Drop pod has landed and is ready for takeoff. Drop pod departing in T-minus 3 minutes.
Where did that leopard go? Did I even through it? Anyway, so what do we get from that? I guess what we got is that this build can be used to very quickly and efficiently just destroy large groups of enemies. And that's kind of it so far. But also, HVTs like Trijaws and Menaces weren't a problem either, because we can do a lot more damage to them. In fact, Trijaws are something that we can just pick up with the coil gun without getting the damage bonus from the fire. You just sort of charge up quite a bit and shoot them, and they'll go down like a sack of shit, and that's sort of great, really, isn't it? I guess the next stage is really trying to push the single target aspect, which makes me want to do an elimination, possibly one with this phage outbreak. I don't know. That's looking mighty tempting right now. Yeah, it's going to be this one. This is going to be it. Our next mission, so let's dive straight into it. I think. I don't think there's any changes I want to make to the build. I think it's perfectly fine as it is. Like, even the accuracy, not a problem. And the stun was actually quite nice. Obviously, not going to have much of an effect on the Dreadnoughts. If we get twins, obviously armor breaking would be nice, but Coil Gun doesn't care about armor breaking. So this is going to be interesting, actually. What we're going to be doing here is really playing against this build strengths, you know? Lift phage enemies which don't care how much direct damage you do, just that you actually hit the blisters, and also Dreadnoughts which can't be set on fire. So it's going to be a real test of this build metal, whether or not it actually can be used as an all-rounder, basically. Which is something that I kind of obsess over. You know, some of the best builds aren't. Like, Neurotoxin Payload, for example, is not an all-rounder overclock, you know? Kind of useless on Industrial Sabotage, and very slow on elimination. But still one of the strongest overclocks in the game. And the Burning Hell is actually the same. Although Burning Hell is quite good on Industrial Sabotage, specifically Rival Warning, though, I'd say. This is very good against the robot enemies. Anyway.
Time for a round of pest control, team. We got Dreadnought for
Hopefully we get something, maybe something extra as well. Maybe like a,
something even worse.
I don't know, some extra enemy of some kind, maybe. Like a Betsy or a Omen. Or a Corlock. I think I know if there's a Betsy by now.
Go fetch.
Yeah, I'll either see you when something interesting happens, or when we about to fight the first Dreadnought. I can't resist. I want to get a good kill here. Look at that. That was beautiful.
Bloody hell, you're hot to kill.
Oh, that. That's a normal Praetorian. That's actually good. It is a normal Praetorian. Right, sir. You are my subject for the day. See, that's not a bad amount of damage at all, I don't think. And also, the beauty of the way necro-thermal catalyst works, it's actually the same as volatile bullets, by the way, in that it does also do the same amount of heat as well as the amount of fire damage that it inflicts, which means we do keep enemies on fire for longer, which means I don't have to swap back to my minigun to keep the the Praetorian on fire, I can just shoot it again, which is brilliant. Now, actually, so this is actually an interesting thing about Rockbox and Burning Hell specifically. In why Burning Hell is weirdly good against Rockbox, and it's not because of the fire necessarily. It's because Burning Hell doesn't care about how much the bullets do, it just cares about how much ammo you have. Which means that we have a lot of bullets to use to pop blisters. Because obviously it only takes one bullet to pop a blister. But we do have the fire damage on top of that. And which I think is technically better than actually going for the ammo overclock on the minigun. Weirdly enough. Oh. Yep, lead burster. The fire does do damage, like definitively. Like obviously it does damage.
Cleansing part requested.
Hard launched. Cleansing equipment is en route.
Okay, a warden. Warden's good. How much damage you can actually do to this thing? Ooh, not ridiculous amount.
Get cleaning, team. The rockpox won't eradicate itself.
Ha! Who's gonna protect you?
And obviously, as usual, I'm not going to show you me cleaning the rockbox. You don't need to see that. As per usual. But what I might be inclined to show you is how I deal with rockbox enemies with this build. See, we've done a little bit of that already. Which begs the explanation of this thing. Oh, see, look at that. That's not... We're not going to kill a rockbox Praetorian with direct damage. I mean, that should be obvious to me, really. But we might kill a grunt with direct damage. And we did.
Die, you plague-infested abomination! No! 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 Get this rockbox off me!
Oh, it's not actually that many enemies. Oh, is it? Or is it? What? Enough to be satisfying, I think? Yeah, very nice. Very nice indeed. Alright, I'll probably see you at the first Dreadnought, though. Yeah. Also, in case you didn't know, somehow, Burning Hell is just one of the best things in the game against tiny enemies. Specifically swarmers. The flying ones can be a little bit finicky, but swarmers, my god, it's beautiful. If you want to do a Swarmageddon for some reason, maybe you like come across a Swarmageddon with golden bugs, use Burning Hell. Use Burning Hell or Wave Cooker with Boiler Ray. That's my recommendation. In fact, if there was a elimination with Swarmageddon, I probably would have done that. That would have been fun. Web Splitter. Now, Web Splitter is a kind of creature, kind of enemy where the coil gun would be immediately overkill. But a base coil gun shot does 170, which is roughly double Web Splitter's health. I think actually more than double. So that's for the minigun. The minigun can handle those sort of low tier enemies very well. The coil gun sort of for bigger stuff and for bigger hordes. I think it's a nice sort of dichotomy. Wait, Warden. Now I have realised I don't quite know how Wardens behave, so Bosco, leave it alone. I want to see if I can attack it without getting it to summon enemies. Yeah, so it's based on proximity, isn't it? Must be. Okay, well there you go, there's some science. Something I learned just now. Finally.
No, I think I've seen some spare pipe rails lying around the station.
I'm glad we got to do that as well. It wasn't hugely effective, but rocking the explosion against Macteras was something I did want to happen at some point.
These bugs don't stand a chance against us.
Oh, okay, that wasn't worth doing, was it? Not even slightly. Alright, like I said, I'll see you at the next Dreadnought, unless something crazy happens. I will show you this, actually. A Swarmer tunnel. Buzzcoat going over there. I'm gonna draw out all of the Swarmers, because they come out in phases. Think.
Give me some Lloyd.
Doesn't seem to be spawning anymore. Alright, let's get rid of them then. tap firing works wonderfully well against them. Alright. Believe I am being assailed by the forces of darkness. Oh, just a single max error. Well, that's pretty bad. Oh, shit.
Rockbox Slippin' eliminated. Shield charge.
I need to step back away from the scenario.
Shield placed.
Kill Spitter. Spitter. All these idiots. What a bitch. Alright. Now we've perfed this Dreadnought, because we're finally here.
Supplies are on the way.
And I don't know. I guess Hive Guard would be the one that's going to just objectively go the best, because we can actually use our damage bonus, like fire damage bonus against the Sentinels, but I'm still interested to see how this goes. Because, like I explained, Burning Hell obviously has that interesting attribute of actually being able to deal, like, just area damage to anything in front of it. It's not just about setting things on fire sometimes. So I definitely want to see how much that comes into play. I do remember using it once on Elimination, where there were 3 other players though, which definitely brought down how effective it was, which is something you need to keep in mind, of course, the fact that I'm in solo. Hive Guard. Okay. Now it's also pre-new Dreadnoughts as well. So quite some time ago. But yeah, we actually get to do something to the Sentinels at least. If I get it low enough where I should be able to one-shot it. There we go, that's good. Although it didn't... Okay, so it set one of them on fire, but not the other. Let's see. Right. That worked fairly well. And that's not going to do anything, I'm pretty sure.
I was born ready.
I don't know what happened there. Yeah, the minigun's probably should be our best bet at the moment, but once it's sort of turned and it's difficult to sort of get into position, we definitely want to be using the coil gun. And I think I can show this off without actually putting myself in too much danger. Watch the coil gun, watch the effect. See when it goes orange, that's when it's at its maximum like overcharge value, basically. I want to try that against this Sentinel, but it's probably not going to stay on fire that long. It's kind of difficult to keep an eye on that because it's in, like, you know, it's in the corner of my eye.
Shield charged and ready.
It seems like the area damage is actually working. You know, that's what this is about. It's experimenting. Okay, don't want to get rock pox right now. That wouldn't be ideal, really. No, I would say this is just going fine. For a build that really is not specialised for Dreadnought at all. Like, we're just doing okay. And I don't know if that's just me, or if that is just the build is just good enough for it. Right, let's see if we can actually get this to do some damage to Hive Guard.
No survivors.
Oh, a perfectly equal amount on each of the different shields. That's stupid. The symmetry of nature. There we go. Oh, go away. Disgusting creatures.
Rockpox larvae.
Wild destroyed beasts. Burn their Mongol hive. Well, that's all that then. I should probably go and collect the elf. Till then, I would attempt to move on to the next Dreadnought. But of course, if anything happens in between of value, you'll see that as well. Although I guess maybe I should run down what we sort of learned from that. Not much, apart from the fact that the build just continues to work. I think the Sentinels... Well, what it encourages you to do is really push the limits of the overcharger, you know, into that orange... that part. Which I believe you only see if you are using overcharger. So it sort of encourages that. In fact, I'm going to try and do that against this Warden. He's going to die pretty easily anyway, but I still want to.
Warden
Nice.
down! Now kill the rest of them!
Oh, hello.
Come here! You're a stain on the floor!
Let's see how... Oh, hello, fellas.
Your
Hello.
side elf secured. Well done. Double time activated for performance points.
Damn it, not quite.
Ain't no hiding from me, bug! Could need a new canister. Getting tired of this old
I
rust.
don't know, what I'm learning from this is that this build just kind of works, just kind of well against everything. In a roundabout way. Even if it's not specialised for the thing in question, it sort of just works. Which, I think those are my favourite kind of builds. Builds that sort of do have a specific purpose in mind, but are still good at everything. I like this build. I don't know if they're my absolute favourite. My absolute favourite kind are the
Have to wait for flare
Hurricane and Burt one I did a while ago. It's got, actually, you've probably seen, it's got quite a few views, which is very nice, actually. That build got over 1,000 views already. The Hurricane with fragmentation missiles and the Burt with lightweight cases or something. It's the balanced ammo one. And it's just good against everything pretty much equally. And I really like that. It's just like the perfect all-rounder. Anyway, I really got to get on with this mission. I will move on. Probably do the next contagion spike. Maybe just off screen. I don't know. If there's like a Rockbox breed or something, I'll probably show you that because I mean I'd just be so excited to see one. Anyway, here it is.
Send the cleansing.
There is a Rockbox Goo Bomber. However, also, I was wondering how dark it looks on the face cam. That is not how dark it is in like reality. Also, that guy went down like a sack of shit. How does everyone like the Rockbox Goo Bomber spotlight? I'm sort of joking, but I kind of mean it. I actually I quite enjoy doing those, and they're going to sort of be a sort of thing for now. And they are filler. I'll admit that, but I want to sort of extract value from these very obscure things, and I think that's kind of interesting. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I can't really defend the fact. I just admit they are filler, so I can't really walk that way. But yeah, next Dreadnought. Let's get to it. It's either going to be the Twins or normal Dreadnought. I'm hoping for a normal one, frankly. I think the Twins are actually going to be pretty bad with this build. I guess we'll just have to see, though. Oh, shit me. Apologies. Almost spawned it without you seeing. Here we go. This is it. Oh, it's Twins.
Clearing the area.
That's not weird, but I've never seen that before. The last way to doing that attack on the ceiling, basically just on a different plane, I guess. It probably couldn't do it up a wall, I'd imagine, but still, that was kind of interesting.
Attack!
So there's the very, I think, fairly obvious aspect of the coil gun that's going to help us here. Like, these guys come battle bot a lot and be hidden behind terrain, but that's obviously not a problem. And it's just something I tend to do because of the way these guys are, specifically the Arbalest. I always tag the Arbalest. You can see where it is, and if I happen to have the coil gun, then I can shoot it wherever it is. Well, because I always forget about the coil gun's terrain penetration. It's not. That's because it's not always the most useful thing in the world, but I don't think it should be forgotten about either. You know, it has its moments. See with the mole, and right now, I guess not. Oh, almost a perfect video, like run. Apparently not. All right. I really want to finish this up, or so I'm not actually going to take resupply. I just want to finish this. I want this to be less than 50 minutes long, which means I will probably have to skip the extraction. Which if I keep dying, but I can't see myself not being able to beat these guys. So there you go. I believe, so the Lacerator has this bug where it forms its final attack even if it's been killed. I think I have had an experience once where that actually ended a mission for me. It killed me, I had no lives left, it downed me with that ghost attack basically, and that was it. Okay, like I said, unless a detonator shows up, I'm skipping the extraction. Actually, no I'm not, I'm going to talk on the way there. So yeah, that's the, I don't know what I'm going to call this, I guess, Necro Hell, or something like that. Burning Catalyst, no, Necro Hell is a great name for it. But yeah, it kind of just works very well against everything. I think it really actually, it's not like perfectly, it's not literally perfectly equal against everything, but what it has that the Volatile Bullets build doesn't, well, it kind of covers the weaknesses, you know. The Coil gun is a great all-rounder weapon, you know. We can sort of take out HVTs very easily with it, whereas with the Bulldog, you know, the Bulldog suffers from armor and also the reduced like direct damage of Volatile Bullets. So without using the fire, its HVT killing is not great, but with the Coil gun, it is. And the Minigun's just, as usual, just being an absolute beast, as it is in general, and as it is especially with Burning Hell. So nothing about this really surprises me. I just think it's kind of neat that we can do this, have a build that, in my opinion, actually does just straight up rivals the Volatile Bullets one, and it's with the Coil gun. I think that's really neat, and it kind of just stops there. I really recommend that you try this. I think there's not much reason to stray from the setup that I have specifically, but it's also somewhat flexible. Maybe the tier 1 on the minigun, some of the Coil gun tiers like the stun tier and the defense tier, those two, which is tier 3 and 4. There's some choice there, choice of grenade I think, but in general I think just sort of the pairing, even the overclock though, the Coil gun, I would honestly be interested to see if anyone tries triple tech chambers and see how that works out. The Mole, I know that Reatomizer has some kind of interaction with this, but I'm very satisfied with what this is. I'm very happy that backfeeding module, which is an overclock that had no place before, in my opinion, definitely has one now. I think that's pretty cool. And this is its place alongside Burning Hell. So anyway, that was the Burning Hell and backfeeding module, the minigun and coil gun combo build showcase, whatever you want to call it. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more of these. As always, feel free to leave suggestions. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. Furthermore, if you want to stay on top of everything, or if you want to see more build showcases and you want to stay on top of everything to do with Deep Rock and Rocore, then also click the bell. It'll help you, it'll help me, and we'll all ride off into the sun together, where we'll find the ghost of the Wall of Flesh and have to kill it again. That's all. See you next time.